In Walla Walla Valley, I am here with Corey Braunel, co-owner and winemaker here at Dusted Valley. How you doing, Corey?
I'm doing great, Ray. Good to be with you.
Good to see you. And for our hardcore listeners who go way back, we interviewed your partner, I'm guessing 10 years ago, could have been even longer, and Chad. And it's really fun to be able to reconnect for a lot of reasons, because we'll come to that in a minute. So
absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, and of course you would be here because this is your winery.
This is my home, actually. Yeah.
Oh, you live here too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe. We're still within the city limits of Walla Walla, right?
Actually, just in the county.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just outside of city limits. But it's a fair question. We're close, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very close.
It's a big county too.
It's a big county. Yeah. I mean, as you know, being a Wisconsinite, I think there's, if I remember from my seventh grade or civics, there's 72 counties in the great state of Wisconsin.
Really?
Does that sound right? Something like that?
But we're going to take a moment to talk about the Wisconsin connection, because you are originally from Wisconsin, and you're saying near Wausau. What was the name of the town?
A little hamlet just west of Wausau on Highway 29 out there called Marathon City.
All right. So for all the Wisconsin fans listening, we do maintain that connection. And we've had a few Wisconsin winemakers, not just in the state, but people who have left and gone to different corners of the world. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it really is. I've always been really surprised by how many folks have pursued fermentation science. But then when you really break it down, should we be that surprised? I mean, it is Wisconsin after all, and we do like our fermented beverages, don't we?
Yeah, that's a very polite way of putting it. But it's funny, and a little shout out to our friend Chuck Klimek, who lives a mile from me, and he's a home wine grower. And the guy knows his stuff. Oh my gosh. I mean, he is as knowledgeable as any winemaker I've ever met.
That's really good.
He makes a really good wine, too.
That's cool.
Yeah. We're in your tasting room, but your actual cellar is in a different location.
Yep. So when we started out in 2003, the room that we're sitting in here, which is our tasting room in Walla Walla, which is actually part of my personal residence, this became our first licensed and bonded winery for the company. And I guess we have about a whopping 350 square feet here. And this was where we started. And this is kind of where we imagined we would grow out of and be in a big place at this point. But what we found is we needed a production space. After 12 vintages, we needed our own production space. And in 2006, Chad and his wife Janet had purchased a vineyard about a mile from here on about 10 acres of ground. And in 2015, we were able to break ground and build the facility there finally. So our production facility is just about a mile down the road, which is about a half mile off of the Oregon-Washington state line. So
what brought two Wisconsin boys to Washington state to make wine?
The opportunity to kind of pursue and chase our dream. We caught the wine bug. Probably the mid-90s, I would say, is when I really started getting into wine. And I, legally, I only should have. I was only about, just coming of age in the mid-90s. Yeah, exactly. A UWL grad, go Eagles. Really graduated from old style and Blatz to understanding this whole agricultural product of wine, which really enamored me. Having been a kid that grew up on a ginseng farm in northern Wisconsin, I had caught the entrepreneurial bug without really knowing what that word even meant at that time. But to have a fermented beverage that had a date on it and a story that connected with it, a place, so there was a time and a place, and I think that was really what kind of caught my attention and captured my imagination. And a couple great trips to Napa and Sonoma and the Willamette Valley, and I was pretty much hooked. The only caveat to that was that it was the Napa and Sonoma valleys, and they were definitely coming of age, and things were, 300,000 an acre, and now, I mean, they're probably, I don't know, probably $1 million.
A little more than that.
A little bit more than that these days. And, and so it's really, a friend of mine said, the billionaires moved the millionaires out a long time ago. And so that wasn't really going to work for a farm kid from north central Wisconsin. So my brother-in-law and sister-in-law had moved to Portland, Oregon in 1998. And my wife, Cindy, Janet's little sister, and I came out to visit them and fell in love with the Northwest. And the people here really felt kind of more like our people.
Sure.
and really fell in love with everything that was going on. And this little area called Walla Walla Valley was just starting to kind of burgeon. And my brother-in-law had shared with me some wines from the area, and I was smitten immediately. So in Memorial Day weekend of 2003, we moved Chad out here because he took a lateral transfer in the company he was working for at the time, and that was in pharmaceuticals. And so he was able to take a territory in Eastern Washington. You know, that's definitely a sidestep move if you're moving from the metro to rural America. You're definitely taking yourself off the corporate ladder and that was every intention, right? We wanted to get here and be a part of this community and be in wine country. So we came out, fell in love with the community. And by August of that year, my wife and I had sold our home in Madison, Wisconsin, and made the trek, some 2,000 miles to the west, and made Walla Walla our home.
How many cases you make in here?
So under the Dusted Valley label, we do right around 5,000 cases a year. We farm about 30 acres of estate vineyards here in the Walla Walla Valley, both on the Washington and Oregon sides of the AVA. And then Dusted Valley's little brother is our Boomtown wines, which you find those distributed throughout the country. The Dreyfus Ashby Company handles our distribution, and with their distribution network throughout the country. So as of the last count, I believe we're in 47 states.
Wow, nice.
And the Boomtown is the lion's share of that. And those are all wines that are varietal. We do a Cab, Merlot, Syrah. We do a Pinot Gris, Sauvignon Blanc, and a little Chardonnay. And really geared at a price point that gets people into Northwest wines, at that kind of MSRP at $20.
So as we sit here behind you, I can see the Dusted Valley wines. I'm going to pick out one specific. You do a sparkling.
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
So after you've been in this business and you have, you've been working with the same 3 varieties in totality, and that was where our focus has always been around Cab, Merlot, and Syrah. On the whites, Chardonnay. And we started out, we were making, wine from average age was 5 years old, the vine age. Now we're working with average vine age of over 25 years, So we're working with the best quality fruit. And we are also seeing, our interest kind of change as well. Like, we want to continue to push boundaries and do things that we haven't done before. And that's always something that Chad and I have kind of prided ourselves on. Just that whole wine to me has always been about discovery. So we were the first winery, as an example, to use screw caps in Washington State. We can talk about that. The sparkling project came about in 2019. It really was born out of the idea that we wanted to do something. We love champagne, love bubbles, right? And we said, we think there are some microclimates that could produce really, really high quality sparkling wine here in the Northwest. And of course, there's a lot of great brands that can show that that's been possible. Like Argyle is one of them, and our friends at Treveri here in Washington have done a fantastic job as well. And so we were starting to really focus on the foothills here in the Blue Mountains of the Walla Walla Valley. In particular, we were working with a friend's vineyard there called Breezy Slope. It's about 1,750 foot elevation. The valley floor here is about 900 feet. So nice higher elevation with a kind of a slightly north and westerly slope. So it stays very cool throughout the morning hours and into the midday, and then it has this kind of nice, gentle evening sun. But as the valley floor heats up and that heat rises, it starts to pull that cool air out of the mountains and pulls it down. So it cools off relatively quick in that area. So we see these acids hold in really quite high before sugar rushes ahead. So there's some Pinot Noir planted up there. We've also planted some Pinot Meunier and some Chardonnay as well. And so Falks was born out of that, and our first vintage was 2019. Everything is done by hand. It's a super small amount of wine. We're only doing about 150 cases a year. And you definitely start to understand why champagne is priced as it is, and they kind of it's a lot of work. It's far more work than still winemaking, right? So but it's been a lot of fun, and we've been able to learn so much about it, and we're pretty excited about the quality of the products that we're making too, and people are really enjoying them.
So you brought up screw caps, and I just noticed as I'm talking to you, right behind you, some people may notice there's wine behind you. And are you entirely screw cap? It looks like it.
Yeah. The only thing that you're going to be able to find at Dusted Valley that that doesn't have a screw cap on it is a large format bottle, just because those are really hard to find with screw caps. You know, these are all 30 by 60 Stelvin screw cap closures. And, you know, we've been using this closure now since, I guess it's officially 2004 reds, 2005 whites. We used the synthetic closure before for the first 2 years and found that really wasn't going to give us the long-term ageability. And the whole reason we went to screw caps in the first place was my brother-in-law has a food science degree with a quality control background. And so we just thought that, man, it wasn't right for a small winery startup that was making 500 cases of wine, just didn't have it just felt like it wasn't right to be able to roll the dice, to have a 1 in 10 chance that the wine could be goofed because of something we chose to put in the bottle at the very last minute. So we kind of were pioneers in that area. I think it probably, in the early years, probably hindered us because early on, I think there was a lot of education that had to happen. Sure. We had customers that would be like, I'm not, that wine's in a screw cap. Well, I can't take you seriously. I'm not going to drink that. So but we had foresight right from the get-go, and a little bit of dumb luck. Let's face it; there's a lot of that too. But about that time is when a lot of the new synthetic closures were coming, or the seals inside the bottle were starting to change. So we've used pretty much the Ceranax liner from day one, which has a 1/2 the oxygen transfer rate of an actual full 3-inch. Cork. And, you know, I've had the occasion and the good fortune of being able to share some wonderful Grand Cru wines and in first growths and understand that when you put a corkscrew into those bottles, it's like driving a spike into a 2x4. So density has something to do with the ageability of those wines as well. And so what we find now is wines that are aging 15, 16, 17 years under screw cap are just absolutely gorgeous. All of that tannin is definitely doing what you would expect it to do. It's just doing it at a slightly slower rate, which still allows a little primary fruit to be left in a 15, 16, 17-year-old wine.
So as I said before, we're here at the tasting room, which is a very cute little tasting room, and can people just come by? Do they need to make an appointment? How does it work here? Yeah,
we offer both options, right? So pretty much the month of April through usually Labor Day, right, or when harvest is kicking off, we'll actually receive people at our winery or at our production facility on weekends when we're not in production mode. Yeah. So you can make an appointment to visit us there. If you just check out our website at dustedvalley.com, go to visit us, you'll find the two options in Walla Walla. And then the tasting room, which we're in right now, we're open Thursday through Monday, 11 to 5 p.m. And so you're always welcome to just come on by. And if you want to get an appointment, it's a busy weekend or something like that, you have the option to book there as well. So we definitely like to take walk-ins here. We're trying to promote that kind of behavior again. I think coming out of the pandemic, everything got so pre-planned, and everybody had to figure out where they're going. And we were kind of getting back to old school, where hey, drop on in and enjoy a tasting. We usually are tasting about 6 wines here, and you can enjoy that. And we're going to apply your tasting fee towards purchase.
Corey, good to see a fellow Wisconsin boy here on the West Coast, kind of. Inland from the West Coast just a little bit.
Yeah.
Really appreciate you taking the time. And nice that you guys have been around, been so successful for so long. Wish you a lot more years ahead.
All right. Thanks, Ray. Cheers.
Cheers.
Go Pack.